The government overstepped the mark when it told churches they had to close for public worship. That's the verdict of a judge at the Court of Session. Lord Braid said the COVID regulations went further than the law allowed. Now this judgment's already taken effect. It could mean some ministers decide to hold services before Friday, when they were allowed to take place anyway. Well, Aileen Clark's been following the story for us. She's with us now. So Aileen, what did the judgment say then?
Well, Lord Braid heard arguments that places of worship should not have been closed because in Scotland, first off, the state shouldn't interfere on spiritual matters, and that goes back to the Covenanters, right back to the 17th century. But also, this was against human rights legislation. Now, Lord Braid decided that on both counts, the Scottish Government response was not proportionate, he said. For example, numbers allowed to go to a church service could have been reduced, and in the circumstances which existed at the time, this decision to close churches for public worship was not lawful.
OK, so where does that leave us now then? Because churches are due to open on Friday anyway.
That's right. Well, the judge was at pains to point out that he is not saying that churches must open tomorrow. He's not saying that. But because he has ruled that his judgment takes immediate effect, then effectively it does mean that they could open tomorrow should they wish to. And his thinking for that was, he said, look, I expect that all measures will be put in place for them opening on Friday anyway. So he couldn't see any greater risk to public health if some wanted to open tomorrow.
So do you think we will see some churches open their doors tomorrow?
Oh yes, I do. I mean, this action was brought by 27 church ministers from the smaller churches in Scotland. So we're looking at some ministers from the Free Church Continuing, the Baptist Church, and they're delighted with this outcome. Now, quite often on a Thursday night, they would have a prayer meeting online at the moment. They're very keen to welcome people back into their churches. The priest who was party to this action is absolutely going to have a mass tomorrow, he says, and he's delighted to do so. But, I mean, elsewhere, other Catholic churches, I think it looks like Friday because that's what everyone's gearing up to. Similarly, the Church of Scotland churches, they'll be giving their ministers the option on Friday should they wish to open. It's going to be up to individual ministers. And I get the impression from a phone round this afternoon that in the Jewish community and mosques, again, it will more likely be Friday before they will open their doors. I think what's important here, though, for the churchmen who took this action is this is really about principle and about the future. What happens if there's another lockdown? So they're looking to the future as well as just to the next couple of days. And the Scottish Government said today that they acknowledged the opinion of the judge and they're carefully considering the findings.
OK, we shall see. Thanks very much, Aileen.